Daniel Sports Central will be over our next team projection of this off season, and it's going to be over the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, the team that went 4-5 in 2020. Kind of a disappointing season for Wake Forest. So this team, of course, had a ton of adjustments going into 2020. How will this team do in 2021 is what we're going over here today. We're going to go over a few players that Wake Forest will be losing, who they're returning, and also looking at their schedule for the first time this offseason, starting out with the previous 6 games for Wake Forest. And this team was once again 4-5 in 2020. In which, I mean, 4-5 is not a terrible record for Wake Forest. We've seen much worse out of this team in the past, but I mean, still, this team really did not play all that terrible last season. Like, of course, down the stretch, this team did struggle, but they did put up some good wins, like over Virginia. They beat them 40-23, beat Virginia Tech 23-16, also beat Syracuse 38-14. So we really got to see, I mean, this team have some potential in through there at the end of October, but once we got into November and into the postseason, this team really did not play as well. They lost to North Carolina in a close one, though. They played pretty well against the Tar Heels. 53-59 was the final score in that shootout. They lost to Louisville 21-45, and they also lost to Wisconsin in their bowl game. 28-42 was the final score there. So this team in their first 4 games was 2-2. Last 5 games they were 2-3. So you could argue this team was worse over the course of the season, but really I'd say, I mean, Wake Forest kind of went through some waves last season. I mean, they played very well in some parts of the year. In other ones, I mean, they didn't play as well. But Wake Forest, I definitely think, I mean, just looking at the returning production here as well, that's what we're going over next. This team is returning quite a bit, and this team is looking very good, I'd say, on both sides of the ball. This team has got some big potential going into next season. Like, I'm not saying they're going to be a national contender by any means, but this team has definitely got some good potential to make a run at a pretty good bowl game next season. I mean, they got some great returning production. The skill players are looking great. Sam Hartman is coming back to the team for next season, which he is extremely experienced with Wake Forest. I mean, he's had several years with this team, and of course last year put up just over 2,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a 58% completion rate. So his stats were not outstanding last season. I mean, I definitely think they could have been better, but I mean, with the amount of experience that he's going to be having with Sam Hartman going into next season, that's definitely something to watch out for. I mean, he's been a starter for Wake Forest since 2018, and I mean, even though in 2019 with Jamie Newman he did kind of step in the background, I mean, he definitely has got a lot of experience with Wake Forest, and I think if he could, I mean, he's still got potential to improve a ton over this offseason, so he's definitely a player to watch out for going into next year, especially if this team continues to improve in the skill players position. But Christian Beal is also coming back to this team. He was the top running back for the Demon Deacons. Looking at him last year, he put up just over 770 yards, 5 touchdowns. Watch out for him. Kenneth Walker is transferring away, which he was a very big impact player for Wake Forest, especially in the red zone last season, putting up just over 600 yards and 13 touchdowns. That's going to be a tough loss there. Probably the worst loss for this team for sure going to next year as he's transferring away. But Jakari Robertson is coming back to the team next year. Put up just right around 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. So watch out for him. He's definitely a player to watch out for, I'd say, on this receiving core. Donovan Green and Taylor Marin are also coming back. They're their second and third wide receivers for this team. And looking at, especially, I mean, Donovan Green, he definitely has got potential to be a big breakout player next season as he put up 600 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. And considering, I mean, he's definitely going to be in contention to be definitely a dark horse wide receiver, I'd say, for the ACC. But otherwise, yeah, Taylor Marin, he's also coming back. Looking at him last year, put up just over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Receiving core looks great for Wake Forest, and in general, this offense just looks great. I mean, you're returning basically everyone. I mean, this offensive line isn't hardly losing anything, if any. I mean, this team is looking very good. On the defensive side, you only lose one defensive end, which is Carlos Basham. Of course, he's the only player you're losing on your defensive side. So, excellent returning production. This is some of the best returning production I've seen all offseason out of any team. So, that is certainly some good news for Wake Forest. Chances of improvement in 2021 are pretty much inevitable. I think this team will be improving quite a bit from 2020 to 2021. It's just a matter of how much. Like, this team, I think, will be bound to make it to a bowl game in 2021. It's just a matter of how far they can get past that 6-win benchmark. But yeah, potential of a bowl season, I'd say, is very high for Wake Forest. This team has got a ton of potential and momentum as well going into next season to have a good season for sure. Once again, I don't expect Wake Forest to be a national contender, but this team, I definitely think has got some good potential to be a contender, at least in the ACC. Looking at your schedule, though, of course, you start off the season with Old Dominion on September 3rd. You got Norfolk State after that, so I think both of those games are going to be guaranteed wins. You got Florida State then after that to start off your conference schedule. Virginia on the road, Louisville, Syracuse. You got Army on the road in West Point in the end of October, and then you got Duke, of course, as well. You got North Carolina on the road, NC State, Clemson on the road, then Boston College. So that November looks pretty tough for Wake Forest. I mean, you got 3 of those last 4 games on the road, and you're playing all 4 pretty good teams. I mean, especially Clemson, of course, they're going to be a national contender once again next year. But North Carolina even, I mean, the Tar Heels are definitely a team to watch out for. So that November is definitely looking like a tough stretch for Wake Forest. But in your first 8 games, honestly, I could see Wake Forest going 6-2 at least in those first 8 games, maybe even 7-1. I mean, there's a chance that we do see Wake Forest perform very well in your first 8 games. But it's just those last 4 are going to be pretty tough. It's just a matter of how many they can win out of that last 4, which will determine how good of a bowl game that they go to. But looking at the first half, of course, once again, Old Dominion and Norfolk State are both going to be guaranteed wins. So you're going to start off the season 2-0 no matter what. I don't think there's any question there. If you start off the season with a loss there, I don't expect a big season out of Wake Forest at all because, I mean, Old Dominion is pretty terrible. But Florida State, that's going to be a close one. I probably favor Wake Forest right now, but that's going to be a close game. Virginia's going to be close. Louisville's going to be close as well. Syracuse will be a win, so you're getting 3 guaranteed wins no matter what in your first 6 games. But once again, I would not be surprised to see this team have 5 wins in your first 6 games. Looking at the second half, though, with Army, of course, that's going to be a close one, I think. I'm definitely favoring the Demon Deacons right now in that matchup, but that is definitely a game to watch out for there. Duke's going to be a win. North Carolina, I'm definitely favoring the Tar Heels in that one. I almost made that a red game just because of it being on the road in North Carolina, but that could be a close matchup as well. Who knows? We could see a close game out of both those teams, but North Carolina, they're going to be a tough team next season. NC State's going to be close. Clemson, I got to say that's a loss. I mean, considering you're smack dab in the toughest part of the season for sure, Clemson's going to be a loss, and especially for Clemson, who's going to be super motivated going into the last part of the season. Yeah, I don't see that game being even close to a win for Wake Forest. Boston College could be a close game as well. But once again, that November is going to be pretty tough for Wake Forest. But the ceiling's going to be 9-3. I think this team has got a ton of potential to possibly get up to 9 wins. I mean, I would not be surprised to see this team hit 8 wins at least. Like, your projection is 7-5. I think that's the most realistic record that could happen for Wake Forest. But I would not be surprised to see this team get up to 8 wins. Like 8-4 is definitely, I think, manageable for Wake Forest here. But the floor is going to be 4-8. So I think, I mean, even though the ceiling's pretty high, the floor is going to be super low for Wake Forest. 4-8 is possibly going to be the lowest of the low for Wake Forest next season, which I think this team definitely should be on their way to a bowl game next season for sure. I think Wake Forest should at least get up to 6 wins, but there's always that possibility that this team flops. Like we see a couple of injuries and this team doesn't perform nearly as well, which, I mean, if Sam Hartman gets injured, for example, this team is probably not going to make it to a bowl game. Like, Sam Hartman's experience is going to be crucial to this team next season. But yeah, 7-5 will be the projection for Wake Forest going into next year. But let me know your thoughts and comments below on Wake Forest, record predictions, and all that. Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys all watching, though. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys all later.